Hello, everybody. Welcome to the live reaction. Let's see, let me make sure I've got my chat here. Give you guys a second to log on. Happy Memorial Day weekend. What's up, Mr. E? How are you? What did you guys think of today's show? What was your favorite part? If you had to pick one part, what's your favorite part of today's show? We'll start right there. Hello, everybody. Welcome. Come on in. Bring your questions. Any kind of comments? The chat. Hey, Kurt, how are you? Hello, Lamb. Amazing look at new local. Well, let me get that. New local wrestling. Hey, Gaming Romance. I'm glad you and your wife found us. We're right there on CW30 Memphis every Saturday at high noon. And then also we premiere it on YouTube so that way we can chat with the fans as well. So there's a couple of different ways to watch, but we are brand new each and every Saturday at high noon. Typically we would have brand new matches each and every week, but with the pandemic, we're taking a look back at some of the best of, but then we're also bringing you some updated content and behind the scenes footage like the interviews with King Cobra at Mid-South Coliseum or the Don't Rush Challenge, Wrestlers at Home. So if you go through our playlist, you'll see feature matches, episodes in full, Wrestlers at Home, even a vlog. So we've been doing this over a year now. So I'm glad you finally found us, Gaming Romance. What's going on? Dan Kellogg, how are you? All right, so Big says the bull rope match. Mr. E says the ladies match was tight. I was asking what your favorite part of today's episode was. Favorite part, of course, Royce versus Bateman. So good. Hey, Zeus, how are you? Thanks for joining us. Bull rope match was sweet. I watched Championship Wrestling from Hollywood on WADL in Detroit. Well, thanks for watching. So the difference in the two shows is obviously the Memphis content and myself and my Maria, and now our episodes are totally different. So Championship Wrestling from Hollywood has taken a look back at the last 10 weeks or so, and we are showing a lot of that footage from the last 10 weeks, but also we're going back and showing some of the best ofs with Scorpio Sky and MJF and Willie Mack, and you'll probably see David Arquette coming up. But then also like the 2019 feud between Bateman and Royce Isaacs. So Bateman is now in Ring of Honor. Of course, Royce Isaacs is with NWA. And so, man, and then you have MJF from AEW, who I'll be watching AEW tonight, by the way, versus Willie Mack, who's with Impact Wrestling. So it gives us, and that was only last year, so it gives us a real good look at some of the top guys not too long ago squaring off in the ring. But you guys have any kind of questions or anything like that? So when Championship Wrestling from Hollywood comes out tomorrow, it'll be a totally different show than the Championship Wrestling. All right, guys, I think I'm back. Am I back? That's so crazy. I don't know what just happened. All right, let me go back to live chat. Okay, guys, sorry. For some reason, I crashed. So motto of my sentence. So what I'll do is I'll just go back to the chat and answer your questions. So James says, hi, Dustin. Is Royce no longer with Championship Wrestling from Hollywood? Well, when Royce lost the United Television Championship, which we'll look back on that here coming up, to Dan Joseph, he walked away from Jamie Iovine. Just flat out walked out. So that's kind of up in the air, but Royce Isaacs is a Championship Wrestling guy, just like a guy like Scorpio Sky. So I would expect to see Royce Isaacs back at some point. But he's definitely with the NWA, of course, and these guys always come back. So I'm not going to say he's not with us, but at this point in the story with the character, that's where Royce is. Thanks for the question, James. Gaming says definitely dream match quality. Very cool. Mr. E, Dustin, have you taken classes or training for your voice? You're very well spoken. Didn't notice any major accent. Maria has an accent, and you can tell she's a Southern lady. Do you hear that, Maria? You have a Southern accent. They're not saying it's a bad thing. No, actually, I have never taken any kind of classes or anything like that. Maybe working for WWE, one of the things that Jim Ross said to everybody, which I was surprised, is that if you have a Southern drawl, then people think that you're dumb. And this coming from Jim Ross, who has the Southern drawl. And so it was just one of the things that they were teaching. I have no idea. But I am born and raised in Memphis, Tennessee, that's for sure. Man, all these wrestling deaths are tragic. JG, yeah, man. So Shad was a friend of mine when I worked in WWE, and even before then, he was one of those guys that looked intimidating to approach because he was so big. What, 6'7", 280 pounds? I don't care what they said. He was a big dude, but was the nicest guy that you would ever meet. So yeah, that stinks. And I also hate that such a tragic thing like this will be held against professional wrestling as another young death, even though it had nothing to do with professional wrestling. I'm back. Yeah, sorry, I got bumped off somehow. Planetary realignment. Shad Gaspard a couple of days ago. Yeah. Kimura yesterday. Yeah, that's very tragic. Just going through the chat here. So if you have any questions about what's coming up, what's ahead, what the future looks like, anything about the United Wrestling Network. I know that they had a live stream last night that you can watch on YouTube and on Facebook, and you can ask your own questions. They're unrolling a whole lot of content, and some of that will involve us here in Memphis. Maria's the best, meant that with respect and admiration. Oh, I know, Mr. E. I know. She's born and raised in the South as well, Memphis, Tennessee. When you sound Southern, people think you're dumb. First time I heard something like that. Maybe one reason Eric Bischoff wanted WCW away from the Southern image. Lamb, that's exactly what it is, because you look at wrestling, and it's old Southern style wrestling. That was USWA with Jerry Lawler and Bill Dundee punching and kicking and using personal vendettas as storylines, which was really good. And most of the big time stuff started here in Memphis, Tennessee, where Lawler would rappel from the ceiling of Mid-South Coliseum, or Bill Dundee riding a motorcycle to the ring, or the King riding a horse to the ring, like the King. So all the elaborate entrances, and then also theme music, I believe, started right here in Memphis, Tennessee as well. Guys like the Rock and Roll Express. So a lot of that historic stuff. And that was what was so cool about today's bull rope match, is that is a Southern style, just ultimate feud blow off. Was a bull rope match. Tied two guys together with a rope and a cowbell in the center that they could beat each other with. And that's what we saw today. And you guys were, some were kind of like, hey man, we all know that blood is red. Well, we don't make the rules. We have to follow the rules at the television station. And I know that that match is available uncensored on the United Wrestling Network's YouTube page. But we usually just air the footage that we air on television. So, but that was what they said, Lamb, in the South. That's what their feelings about the South. What would say to an aspiring pro wrestler? Get an education. That's what I would say. And then also you have to be very careful about who trained you. Gaming Romance, I am in the Memphis area. I'm sitting in my home in Memphis, Tennessee right now. So send me a direct message if that's something that you're interested in, because at some point there will be a Championship Wrestling training center of some kind, just like there always has been. But a lot of the plans that we had have not necessarily been put on hold, but just been postponed. So a lot of those ideas haven't come to fruition just yet. Chris Downs, what's up, man? He said, how's it going? Please tell me you got your updates, please. Updates, there is not an update on the birthday bash and the rescheduling of that, but hopefully that's coming here in the next week or so. You guys will be the first one to hear about it. Mr. E says he loves the United Wrestling Network. Very cool. I do too. He says, when I lived in Key West, everyone commented on my freshwater accent. B&B says, how long are you in business? It's been about 14 months. We launched in WrestleMania weekend of 2019. And we had our first tapings here in Memphis on April 25th. This was supposed to be, and it had to be postponed. And we were going to do that at AutoZone Park. Tickets went on sale, the whole 9 yards, but it had to be postponed. So, been in business a little bit over a year. And that's why I say that you'll see a transition in the wrestling that you see on our program, which is not a bad thing. Very similar to Championship Wrestling from Arizona. They have a different roster, a whole different crew, but then you see some familiar faces there as well, just like Hollywood. Mr. E, I love Memphis. Me too. Gaming, Facebook or here on YouTube. Either one. If you find me on Facebook, it's Dustin Starr. It's at Dustin, the number 5, and then STARR. And then you can also send that to at CW30 Wrestling on all forms of social media. Lamb, do you have plans to be a coach for wrestling and training, bodybuilding and fitness? I have been a coach in the past. And if there was some sort of training center that was going to open up, I would have my hands in the mix at, somehow, whether it was rolling around in the ring or promos or anything like that. Because there's a lot of training that, I rolled around in a barn. I trained in Jericho, Arkansas, rolling around and bumping in a barn with very little padding, no ring, just a slab of concrete, and carpet. So that is real. So I think that I could bring a lot to the table, especially seeing what I've seen in WWE. And it'd be good to mold our own talent here in Memphis as well. James, do you know who trained MJF? He has become so good so quick with only a handful of years of experience. I'm not sure. I don't think that would be hard to find out, though. I do know that he sent in some Tough Enough tapes doing the same gimmick where he's better than you and you know it, and talking smack to Triple H. So that was kind of like an outtake, a video that was for Tough Enough. And it was so cool to see it all these years later that he's using the same gimmick. And he's on top of the world, pretty much, with AEW. I thought that was cool. But I don't know who trained him. Mr. E, so many flavors of life in that area, Memphis over New Orleans, for my taste at least. Hey, man, Memphis is awesome. I love it. You won't find anyone that loves Memphis more than me and my Maria. But we love New Orleans, too, man. Nolans. Chris Downs, I'd hate MJF. Thanks for sharing my video on YouTube. I got you, man. You're a 5-star guy. I was waiting on MJF to either lay the smack down on you or say something rude to you, Chris. I'm sure he loves it if he saw it. Kane says, hey, Dustin, what do you think? Who do you think will win out of Cody and Lance Archer? Now, I've gone back and forth on the Grind City Wrestling podcast. A couple of weeks ago, I said my buddy Lance was going to win. But then I'm kind of talked into the fact that Cody might just pull this thing off because he kind of has to. I mean, how's Cody going to lose 2 big matches? So I'm kind of intrigued here to where I don't know exactly what they're going to do, but I did change my pick to be Cody. So I'm going with Cody on that. Is Mud Island still a thing down there? Yes, Mr. E, it is. Last time I was at Mud Island, oh my gosh, doing a sound check for that show. Yeah, I've been to several concerts at Mud Island. I'm not so sure about the Mud Island Amphitheater, but that whole area down there has, I think, been redeveloped. Very, very nice part of town, downtown Memphis. Kurt Hawkins and Create-A Pro trained MJF. I do think that is correct, Lamb. Good call. So Create-A Pro and Kurt Hawkins trained MJF. I'm pretty sure that's correct. Thank you for that, Lamb. Kane says Hart Foundation trained in the basement. Amazing what came out of basements and the talent. Yeah, it was brutal, man, but we didn't know any better. I wanted to be a wrestler so bad that I trained in a barn that didn't have a heat, didn't have air conditioning. When it was hot in the summertime, you would have to stop because you'd have to throw up. And then when it was cold outside, you were freezing when you were training, man. And it hurt. All right, gaming. I'll check that out on at CW30 Wrestling. Favorite WWE talent that you've worked in ring with? Hurricane Helms was great. Jeff Jarrett was great. All those guys are great, man. You can't just like pick one. If you're talking about a recent guy, I mean Zack Ryder, of course he was great to work with. There was a lot, man. All the guys that I work with. Some of the guys that you wouldn't even know that I had worked with, like Ryback or Titus O'Neil or what's his name? Gosh, I'm not even gonna say it now if I said what's his name. I got a lot of faves over there. In your knowledge, what the shortage of this championship to go wild? B&B, in your knowledge, what the shortage of this championship to go wild? I'm not sure what that means, B&B. If you could rephrase your question, I'd be happy to answer it. Hope Cody does. All right, I'm pulling. Man, I'm kind of friendly with both of those guys, so I think it'll be a good match. Lance should be on the Championship Wrestling from Hollywood or Power. He's on AEW. How can you complain about that, Willie? He's doing great. Basement barns and backyards. Yeah, that's exactly right. Valenti, this was my first time watching this wrestling promotion. Royce Isaacs led me to this show. It was awesome. Well, I'm glad you joined us. Hopefully you were in on the live chat where Royce Isaacs was in the chat. And we also had some special commentary provided by Royce Isaacs where, man, I wanted to know what was going through his mind. We actually reached out to Bateman as well, but we weren't able to get the footage together. But Royce was more than happy. I thought it was super cool. But thanks for joining us, man. We're here every Saturday at high noon, and then we do a live reaction immediately following where I can answer questions, talk about whatever it is that you guys want to talk about. Can we find you on the WWE Network? Yes, there are several matches on the WWE Network, but the best place to find my work would be 5-Star Fan Cam on YouTube. FIVESTARR Fan Cam. So there's all sorts of matches against everybody from Matt Hardy to Chris Masters to Jeff Jarrett, Jerry Lawler, Buff Bagwell, Scott Steiner, of course, the local guys around here, Billy Gunn, all sorts of matches on there. Chris Down says MJF is 24 years old. Hey, Maria. And so am I, so I'm better than MJF, and he gonna know it. I'm not so sure that MJF would agree with you, though, Chris. You missed it. Oh, no. Well, that's fine. You could go back and watch on demand. So all the episodes are right there in the playlist. It says full episodes. It's free to watch. You can even have the chat on the side to where you can see what's happening during that. But we have we have 60 original episodes now, dating back to April of 2019. So you can get all caught up. The vlogs are some of my favorites. They share behind the scenes footage, and they're only a couple of minutes long. And then also there's a brand new feature matches where you can watch specific matches instead of full episodes. And then of course, what the wrestlers are doing at home, and the podcast. So the podcast gives you about a 10-minute interview with certain Championship Wrestling stars like David Marquez, the owner of Championship Wrestling and the United Wrestling Network. He joined me. Adnan Karishi, the ring announcer. Gentleman Jervis. Zicky Dice was fun. He kind of had to hang up on him. Of course, Houston Body. And then on this Monday, I get the pleasure of talking to Howdy Price. So Memphis loves Howdy Price. It reminds us of old school Memphis wrestling managers. And so I'm looking forward to talking to Howdy on Monday at noon. It drops right here on YouTube, but then also on all your favorite podcast providers. And then championshipwrestlingmemphis.com is a great place for all that stuff as well. Let's see. But yeah, you could go back and watch that episode right now. So you feel that not working the indies before going full pro hurts up-and-coming talents. All the vets comment on how the road was the best teacher for them. Zicky Dice led me to watch Championship Wrestling. Anthony Idol hooked me. That's awesome. Watched one show and have been watching, a fan since December. Thanks, Mr. E. To answer your question, it's always good to be able to come up and work in the indies, you know, to work in front of nobody. So these shows that are fanless, we've all wrestled in places that didn't have an audience before this. Seriously, some wrestling shows didn't draw anything when I first started, and we would wrestle in front of our friends. That was it. So it's always best to learn on the indies and work with multiple guys and see various different styles, and that's how you learn. And basically what you have to learn too is how to give the people what they want. So if you plan out an entire match and the people are sitting on their hands, you've got to be able to adjust and make them either cheer you or boo you. That's the whole concept of wrestling. But yeah, the indies is definitely the best spot to learn. But WWE tells you exactly, they can teach you exactly what they want you to know and what they want you to do. Chris is going to get his, Kane says Chris is going to get his ass kicked. Oh man, I love it. Dustin, you guys are killing it. You and your family and team should be very proud of yourselves. Kudos. Thank you, Mr. E. I appreciate that. MJF is a bully. We're only just getting geared up, man. I know I've said it a couple of times, but the whole idea here is for us to bring you a unique brand that you can't find anywhere else. Wondering, this is Lamb. Were there ever talk for you to join Global Force Wrestling by Jeff Jarrett back in 2014, 2015? Yes, of course there was. I don't think that they had the infrastructure, is the word that I'm going to use. It was kind of, at that point, it was so early on that there was no way to risk my everyday duties and income to go and do that. So I did work some dates for them. I was on the very first ever Global Force Wrestling show out in Jackson, Tennessee at the Jackson Generals ball field. It was super fun. We even did a spot a couple of days before with Game Ops where I body slammed a referee out on the field. So it was very cool. But yeah, there were talks and discussions, and of course, when they were around the area, I would always work with Jeff or help with marketing and media, however I could. So yeah, there were conversations, but Global Force to me was never like a TNA that had a solid, and I know there's a lot of stories about TNA, but they are a company, and I don't know that Global Force got that far ahead, got that far along, you know, to offer a full-time thing like that. And I don't say that in a bad way either. Gaming says some people would pay out the nose for an empty arena match to begin with. Lawler versus Funk in Memphis. You're exactly right about that. Lawler and Funk in Memphis was awesome. And Lance Russell being there on the call, I want to say he was smoking a cigarette at the beginning, which is funny, knowing Lance. James says WWE boo. Chris says BTW, AEW Double or Nothing is on tonight. You gonna watch it? Of course I'm gonna watch it. Are you kidding me? Heck yeah, I'm gonna be tuned in. Gaming says, I love the idea of empty arenas in wrestling. Allows the talent to do more than just stand there and scream. Happy reminder to hit like. Thank you, Mr. E. Everybody hit the like button. Go ahead and do that. Too much negativity on the scene today. Xavier, hey, how are you? Destiny says, so exciting, it's cool. Always loved Championship Wrestling from Hollywood. And then Dustin and Maria came along, and they were my hook. Oh, man, thanks. Love the show. Love the whole wrestling family. Talent and fans are the best. Yes, so any trolls that enter the chat, we throw them over the top rope. You guys have seen that happen before. Mystery says, I like your comment weeks ago, Dustin, but where's the light side of the ring? Yes, where is the light side of the ring? There's a lot of good stuff going on. Kurt, what is one of your favorite heel storylines? Well, the Ray Rosa storyline that's going on right now has been pretty intriguing. And we're going to see that, I believe, next week. We'll see a little bit more about our buddies from Static. So I'm not going to give it all away right here, but when Xavier, is this your first time? My first time what? But the whole Ray Rosa story was one of my favorite heel storylines that we've had, where he was losing every match, and then he turned his back on the fans, and then all of a sudden he starts winning. It was the craziest thing. And then somewhere in the mix, he put his hands on My Maria. So I still have a contract with a blank date on it for him. We're going to take care of that. But, that's been an awesome storyline. How crazy. He went from winning nothing to winning everything. Now he's the PP3 Cup bearer. He's the Arizona State champion. And Ray Rosas has his eyes set on Watts and the Heritage Championship. And he might not be taking it very seriously, but I have my sights set on him. So, Stadium Stampede match, your thoughts and predictions. Oh, I think it's going to be fun. These guys are going to have a blast going all over Jacksonville Jaguar Stadium. I think we might finally see the turn. So, Adam Page, I think he might finally turn tonight. Gloom and doom are lame. Happy fun is better in my opinion. Yes, I agree with that 100%. The Don't Rush video was hilarious. What was your favorite part? Oh man, my favorite part of the Don't Rush video. Dan Joseph at the end when his kid starts beating him up was cool. I'm a big fan of Howdy Price, so I thought Howdy being involved in it. And so the way that worked is we had to coordinate with all of those people. And many of them were very happy and willing to do it. And some had other things that had them tied up and couldn't. But we invited as many people as possible to be a part of the Don't Rush Challenge. And putting it together was a lot of fun. So if you guys do me a favor and share that on social media, on Twitter, Instagram, and even here on YouTube, I think it releases today on YouTube. Share that, because those guys and gals in the locker room that you saw in the Don't Rush video, they did that just for your entertainment, because we wanted to give them something new and something fresh, and they were all happy to do it. So share that for them. My favorite part also was Houston Body coming out of the shower. Random statement from Destiny. Love the local commercial during the show. I missed the dental office that you all did back in the beginning. That was funny. Yes, that was the dentist of the stars. We had Superstar Bill Dundee there with us. That was cool. And then me missing a tooth every week. I'll have to post some of that on Throwback Thursday or something. And of course, like many other businesses, they've been affected by the pandemic just like everybody else. So I believe that they're opening a new location in Memphis as well. That is kind of random, but that was one of Brady's other commercials. So you saw him on the Championship Wrestling Shop commercial today. His first one was on the dental commercial. And so he's like, oh, Dad, you're going to use that footage of me dancing? But you guys check out the Championship Wrestling Shop. You go to championshipwrestlingmemphis.com. There's a little button you click and it says shop. It'll take you to hoodies, kids shirts, women's shirts, men's shirts, unisex shirts, all sorts of styles and colors and legends. You can get an Austin Idol t-shirt. You can get a Tojo Yamamoto t-shirt. All sorts of stuff. And just Championship Wrestling gear in general. Mr. E says, Dustin, behind the curtain here, how cool is Johnny Yuma? Dude, Johnny Yuma is the cool guy, man. Very, very cool. And what you guys may not know about Johnny Yuma off screen is he was actually the booker and wrote a lot of these stories that you're seeing right here today. He's not in that position currently, but yeah, Yuma has a great mind for professional wrestling, and he is a classic Memphis wrestling diehard fan. He loves the stuff. Thanks for bringing up Yuma. Very cool. Chris says Ray Rosa stole the Percy Privilege Cup. That is right, he did. Mr. E says, I know that Yuma is a mover and a shaker. I'd love to pick his brain about wrestling. Me too. Yes, love promos. Mr. E, Chris, yes, he did. He robbed Anthony Idol. We'll be seeing that here pretty soon. I'll share those, Destiny. I like those too. Those are all available to watch on YouTube as well. Lamb says great shirts and hoodies. Hey, I'm going to check on that international shipping for you. Mr. E loves the home clips. B&B, why we not seeing Maria with you in the live chat? Hey, that's a good point. She's been walking all around the house here. I think she is scheduled to do an interview with www.stspod.club. I gave my top 10 Memphis wrestling tag teams of all time. I believe that was like last week or 2 weeks ago. It's available now. And then hers will be available coming up this week. So she's getting ready for that, I'm sure. But yeah, she does need to join me on these. Who took booking after Johnny Yuma? I don't know if that has been made public just yet, so I'm gonna wait before I say, because I don't know if I'm supposed to say that or not. Good question though. But it's not Johnny Yuma any longer. And you'll see Johnny Yuma coming up on the broadcast in the next coming weeks as well. So obviously there's still a good relationship there. Gaming, it's so sad that Memphis has such a rich wrestling history, but such a small local wrestling footprint currently. That's okay, Gaming Romance. It's all good. The whole idea of Championship Wrestling presented by Pro Shingle is to eventually become Championship Wrestling from Memphis. And I don't know why that keeps happening, but Championship Wrestling right here in Memphis. And so we're making our moves, and unfortunately everything's on a standstill right now, but hopefully we'll be bringing that back very, very soon to Memphis, Tennessee. But until then, we have been featuring local wrestling promotions. Just a couple of weeks ago from Middleton, Tennessee, which is only about an hour from Memphis, we spoke with Grady Watson out and to see all the different things that they're doing at Middleton Independent Wrestling. And then also coming up in a couple of weeks, we'll see EPW from Boonville, Mississippi, which is only about an hour and 20 minutes away. So it might not have a place we can do that to here in Memphis, Tennessee, but all in the outskirts are where some of the greatest wrestling fans are, and we're going to fill that void here in Memphis, Tennessee as well. Not just on television, but doing it with live events as well. And like I said, we did have our birthday bash scheduled for April 25th. Unfortunately, it had to be postponed, but we'll definitely be bringing you some local Memphis wrestling very soon. Maria has the best facial reactions. Who you telling, man? I get them every day. She's such a great straight to your over the top. Who says I'm over the top? If Maria joined the live chat with you, I wouldn't be the only wrestling girl here. Yes, that would be better. That would be better. All right, guys. Well, I guess I'm going to wrap it up. Unless you guys have any more questions or anything like that, I want to thank you guys so much for joining me here today. And also in the live chat, it's the highlight of every Saturday for me. Dustin's Maria is being a mom and a housewife during this outbreak. No offense, Dustin. She's definitely the leader of the household. Did you hear me? For sure. Well, we've got some more fun stuff coming up. I'm not going to spoil it all. You have to tune in on Monday. Now, the Championship Wrestling podcast presented by Be Free CBD is only like less than 30 minutes long. It's less than 30 minutes long. The interview segments are like 10 minutes. I try to keep them a little bit short so they're easy to digest. But I'm going to give you the full lineup of what to expect next Saturday on Championship Wrestling. And then also, I hope to see you guys on social media all throughout the week. Yes, I will reply to your message, Gaming Romance. Actually, I'm going to go over onto our Facebook page right now and talk to those people who don't necessarily get on YouTube. So if you want to join me over there, I appreciate you guys. I will see you at the same time next Saturday, right here on the Championship Wrestling YouTube channel. Thanks, guys.